Hello YouTube, it's me again. Do you want to say happy 2018? Very sorry for the way how I look, a little bit rough on the edge at the moment. Just started New Year and I'm feeling not the best at the moment. As I said last week, I asked you to throw me some questions for this Q&A. Got loads of responses off my Instagram account, some off my Facebook. I said if you want me to do another one of these or ask any more questions, then just suggest down below. I've got a little list with me at the moment, so this is going to be quite interesting. It may be short, maybe not, depends how long it takes me to ramble on. So without further ado, let's get started. Favourite childhood memory, question number 1. Ooh, I have to say, well, that's quite difficult because childhood memories is something which is like a big collective. I'll have to say the one which I can fondly remember, which I did like, is, well, basically in Birmingham there is a outdoor market, well, an indoor market, but it's like these place where you get like the meat and the fish and some random like alternative clothing stores. And I remember I was driving through town in the car. I think I was like 7, and I remember just looking outside the window and there was this big Goth dude and he had this really amazing coat. I've never seen a coat like this, even to this day, where it was leather, but he had like a Japanese mask at the back, so it was like embedded into the back of his leather coat, and it had a really nice design. I remember that really fondly, and that was really cool. On an un-Goth topic, I'll probably say something from Serbia. Probably one of my favourite childhood memories in Serbia was me ended up jumping into one of the rivers, which was fucking freezing cold, but it was really, really cool. I know that one wasn't as interesting as the first one, but it was something that I do remember, especially helped me with my confidence in swimming and just an overall good time. I mean, I'm quite excited to go back actually. Question 2. Hi, I was wondering what season is your favourite season to wear goth fashion? You're a year-round goth, but I was wondering if some seasons are more of a struggle to be a fashionable goth than others. Love your videos and your style. Thank you. To answer the first question about which season my favourite season, I would probably have to say the spring or summer, because spring's a type of round where it's not as cold and it's just before summer, so some of the clothing I prefer wearing to an extent, and it's not as hot as summer. I do love wearing like meshes and all that in the summer, but I just hate the fact that once it gets hot you sweat and it's not nice. Your makeup starts dripping off, your hair starts falling down. But it's probably those two are probably the best times to say be fashionable as an overall season. Those are my favourite seasons. As for the second question, the ones I hate the most are winter. I absolutely hate dressing up in the winter season because just now in England we had some snow and it was horrible. You know when temperature and weather climate just affects your overall mood? It was one of those situations where I saw the snow, I went outside and I refused to dress up nice because I wasn't in the mood. I couldn't put my hair up. I had to wear my kind of Russian Soviets hat to keep my head warm, and it was that cold I started just being all snotty and everything. So no, winter I hate with a passion. Absolutely hate it when it comes to wanting to be a fashionable goth. Question 3. Which Harry Potter house are you? And second, and a question following with that, what advice would you give to a girl that is trying to treat his girlfriend like a princess but struggling? Sorry, that's a weird question, but you're such a good boyfriend to me and I thought you could give me some advice for my teddy bear. Well, thank you very much for that question. To answer your first question, I'm Ravenclaw. Ravenclaw all the way. For your second question, well, this one's a little bit of... It's hard to give these advices. I mean, like with me and my girlfriend, the reason why we work so well, and the reason why we've been together for a long time is because we help communicate. A relationship is always going to be a two-way system. You can treat your girlfriend as much as you want, as lovely as you want, treat her like a princess and everything like that, but the overall matter is, but if you're struggling to win her affection or just end up seeing her happy and she doesn't put any contribution to that relationship, it's something you have to work out together. You have to sit down and talk to another massively about this situation. You've tried your best, and I know it's emotionally draining on your behalf, especially when you've tried giving everything you can and you get nothing in return and you feel like no matter what you try, it's not going to work. So I honestly do advise that you sit down and talk to your partner, because a relationship is a two-way system. You can't have one way and expecting something else. Hopefully that will help. I'm good at giving relationship advice, but not in front of the camera, if that makes any sense. Question number 4. When did I get into goth music and goth culture? Goth music I got into when I was around 10 or 11, simply because I found Bauhaus on Google, of all the craziest things. It's one of those where I heard what goth fashion was, so I checked out what to recommend for starting off with, and Bauhaus was just one of those. She's in Parties was that ultimate song that got me into it. So yeah, around 10, 11. And what got me into goth culture? What got me into goth culture was a mixture of different things. I mentioned this in my goth tag video, one of my first videos I've ever done. Basically, what got me into it was not just the music and the fashion, but the overall scene, about how there's so much connection within the label goth, such as the architecture and the literature, because that was the only form of literacy that I'll ever used to read it in junior school. So I was always drawn to that and the centre style and the blueprints that made the term Gothic. And I understood that. As soon as I understood what that meant, I ended up appreciating the architectural design, the overall meaning of Gothic, as well as the goth music and the overall subculture. Question 5. How old are you? What does your family think about your goth lifestyle? What's your favourite movie? 3 questions in one. To answer your first question, I'm 22, turning 23 in March. What does my family think about my goth lifestyle? My mum loves it because she was quite alternative back when she used to live in Yugoslavia. So she understands and supports in that way. My brother loves it because it ends up being influenced with my style. Like someone to lean on to for advice and finding his own identity. My father, when he first found out that I was getting into this fashion, he didn't take it too seriously. He thought it was just a phase thing, but with it being, I think, 11, 12 years going on, it's no longer a joke, and he's come to accept it. But I wouldn't say that he necessarily loves it 24/7. He appreciates it and he respects it, but I don't know. I'll try not to care. What's my favourite movie? As probably as cliche as it's going to sound, but it's always going to be The Crow. I know it's one of those baby bats films that people always end up going on about, and I've got no shame to it. It's my favourite film of all time. It's been since I was about 12 years old, and I love it. Absolutely love everything about it, from the style to everything. If you somehow have never heard of The Crow, I do recommend you watching the first original 1994 film with Brandon Lee. Question 6. What's your favourite movie? What's your favourite spooky/horror movie? Answer the first one, as no, it's The Crow. Favourite spooky or horror movie, I guess. Spooky, depends on what term you use it. I mean, some people find spooky in a different perception. It's like, I don't find cult films spooky, I find them laughable. It's one of those things. It depends what your depiction is. For my depiction, spooky, it's really hard to really say, but as for horror movies go, I'll have to say the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. It's one of my favourite. I'm not a massive fan of slashers, but it's probably one of my most favourites. Normally I like psychologicals or something that's extremely controversial. But I think for this one I will say Nightmare on Elm Street, definitely. How long have you been goth? Where can I buy trad goth men's clothing? As said, I've been goth since I was 11, so it's coming up to 12 years now. And where can you find goth men's clothing? Well, this is the funny bit to which I always try to say. When you start off like exploring goth culture, you'll always end up going to like these alternative stores. Like in Birmingham we have the Oasis Market, which was where all like the baby bats and beginner goths would go to for like the industrial pants and the Victorian clothing, that type of stuff. I don't know whether in America you have Hot Topic or something like that, or Blue Banana in England as well. But what I find, if you want to adapt to a trad style, the way how I see it, because it's very hard to go into a shop and go, yes, I would like some trad goth clothing. What? That's what you would probably get, because trad goth clothing, especially for males, is quite a interesting thing to really ask, because it's so broad. What I normally do, when I got into my trad goth clothing, I basically did the old method of charity shop stuff. So secondhand stuff from charity shops, and then just end up customizing it in my many ways. So like my leather jackets, I'll end up customizing them with paint or anything like that. Once again, this is all very punk rock influenced, so I always do like the punk rock DIY method. So, seeing like with velvet jackets, I'll buy a velvet jacket from the charity shop, probably buy just a cheap fishnet top from another charity shop, and then just work like that. So I think the only like trad goth thing for males which I actually brought from a site was my winkle pickers, and that was about it. The rest I'd say is just DIY stuff, so charity shops are the best thing. Alternative stores, try and divert unless you want to look like a 1990s 2000s baby bat. Question 8. Where am I actually from, as you don't seem to have a Birmingham accent? Well, I am from Birmingham. I have lived in Birmingham all my life. The reason why I probably don't have as much of a Birmingham accent as some people think is because of the area I live in. I live in Bourneville, which is the home of Cabrywell, so loads of people are very well spoken on that matter. My father's well spoken as well, so I probably ended up getting that influence from him. That's kind of rubbed off on me, so that's mainly the reason. I have to admit though, if I do end up drinking a little bit, and it will end up slurring out by accident, and it's quite funny because even I'll catch myself saying it, I think, oh crap. Question 9. Ian Astbury or Jazz Coleman? I have to say Jazz Coleman. I do like some of the cold stuff, but not enough to be considered a huge fan. Jazz Coleman on your hand, yeah. All the way, easy question. Question 10. What kind of style were you into before the trad look? Once again, I wouldn't even say I'm fully trad, to be honest. I kind of mix my own styles together. I always joke around saying I adapt a new trad style, which people hate. It's like a mixture of trad goth and new goth style. But to answer your question, I mean, yeah, very trad influenced. I mean, I had my little death rock phase, I wouldn't say it's a phase, I experimented with it. When I first started, I was probably, shamefully enough, into the baby bat stages first. Then I was Victorian for a while, which is quite interesting. Never went through the cybergoth phase, which I'm quite glad I never did. Never went through the emo phase. So I'll probably say it was Victorian, death rock, and trad goth. Question 11. What do you prefer, modelling or performing? I enjoy modelling because it's a part-time thing and people always recommend me to do it, so I do enjoy it. I love meeting new people and exploring my capabilities, but I'll probably say as a musician and artist, I'll probably say performing, definitely. I find it more energetic and more being able to communicate with the audience. Question 12. Do you have any music guilty pleasures? No, I don't have any music guilty pleasures. I am someone who is open to all types of music. I mean, from my collection, I've got the goth stuff, I've got the rock stuff, I've got the blues stuff, I've got the jazz stuff, I've got the dubstep stuff, I've even got just random stuff. So I have got no music guilty pleasures, I'm open to everything. Question 13. What is your opinion on the Snowy Loafer and Angela Benedict controversy on if you don't listen to goth music, you are not a goth, and why didn't you make a video on this? I didn't make a video on this because I didn't want to jump on this bandwagon, because I thought that the fact that it blew up and so many people got so defensive over it. I mean, I'm friends with Snowy and I've met her a couple of times, she's lovely, and from what I depict from when we spoke about this was she wasn't trying to take away the meaning of what goth is. It was just someone asking that if you don't like goth music or a certain type of goth music, say like trad or dark wave or whatever, would they be less of a goth? Well, no. So I understand what Snow was trying to say, that it's okay to like other forms of goth, like, yeah, you can get bored of Susan the Banshees one day, and well, so if you listen to them on a regular basis, it's understandable what happens. Angela Benedict's response, I think Angela took it in more of a different context, to be honest, because I spoke to Angela a couple of times. She is lovely. Once again, I think it's because of a different generation gap and type of bring, because obviously Angela was more of a 90s goth, and Snowy and myself are more the modern day goths who are more influenced from the 80s style. I wouldn't say that Angela had a exact elitist approach to it, because from what I was analysing from both of them, I think it just came out wrong and the context and the meaning got lost in the style. Like, you don't have to like all goth music to consider the goth, but it does help to be a part of that goth style. There is a difference between gothic and goth, and obviously if you are gothic, you don't necessarily have to like the music per se, you appreciate more the Victorian that type of style, an architectural, historical fan, the aesthetics. But if you're talking about subcultural, as well as fashion, music is a big part of any type of subculture, so it would definitely benefit it from that to help. This is just my personal taste on it, but that's the reason why I didn't want to do a video, because I feel like that to me, it just seems a bit biased to be on one side and another, so that's why I didn't make a video to it. And question 14, what is your real name and your origins? Well, my real name is Emilian, and as I said, I was born in England, born in Birmingham, but I'm of Serbian of origin, and that's about it. Okay, and that is it. I hope you all enjoyed that, and it's lovely to start the new year with a more frequent video. I will hopefully be doing another video next week or next couple of weeks, and I'll make that a promise, so I'm trying to keep to my New Year's resolution. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to ask any more questions, feel free, and I'll end up doing for another Q&A video if you really want me to. Apart from that, hope you all have a lovely week.